Welcome back to another video, guys. Today we've got some stuff to do with the Yaris, so I'm gonna go get it up on jack stands and then we'll go from there. Alright, so while I get this box cut up to lay on, I'll walk you through what I plan to do today. First, what we're going to be doing is making a template for a skid plate. I've got a company that says they'll CNC cut me a skid plate if I bring them a template, and I'll likely use that Costco box over there for the template, and I'll just use this to lay on. So under here you can see the oil pan is completely open, the transmission is completely open, and the plan is to create an entirely new front piece that goes all up here, all covering through the bottom, and all the way back to this subframe right here. So got the plastic under tray taken off. Let's take a look under there real quick. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna mount it from the core support of the radiator right here, and I'm just gonna take it back to mount at this location, and then there's another hole on that side right there. The first thing I need to do is take some measurements. So I'm gonna measure out that core support first, and then I'm just gonna get a rough outline of what I want, cut some cardboard a little bit larger, and then we'll go from there, trimming just a little bit here, trimming a little bit there, and soon we'll have a finished concept for the skid plate that I want. All right, so we've got our rough template cut out right here, and I'm about to go get it under the car, see where I need to make some adjustments. And once I finally have it fully adjusted, get all the holes for the screws, all the bolts, and everything else I need to have a finished design, I'm gonna go take it down to the shop in Waxahachie to get them to cut it out for me. Hopefully, I'll be able to finish it before 5 because their shop closes at 5 for the weekend, and then I'll have to take it next week after I get off of work. Alright, so I just got back from the shop that's likely going to be cutting out the skid plate for me. I didn't get enough video of designing it and all of that because I looked at the time and I was running really close to the shop closing, and it's Friday, they're not open on the weekend, and I wanted to get this in before Monday. I just went ahead and designed it. I didn't get any pictures of it. Hopefully they'll keep the cardboard cutout that I have with all the dimensions, all the angles and all of that, but I arrived at their shop 5 minutes before they closed. Luckily, they wanted to go ahead and talk to me then, so we talked about it. They said they're gonna price it out on Monday, and then I'll either give them the green light or we're gonna make some adjustments. But right now it's at the shop. It is going to be 3/16 inch aluminum in 50/52, so that should be more than enough to handle even stage rally, and I think I have a good enough design, so I'm not gonna have any issues with rallycross. But that's where we are now. We're back in the shop today, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that stock splash plate mounted back up under the car because I do need to drive it this week. I have a little bit of a plan for that, so I'll show you all that real quick. So the Yaris has these 8 bars here indicating fuel level. So once it gets to the last bar, it starts flashing. My idea is I'm gonna be driving this car this week to work, and I'm gonna drive it until it flashes, and then once it starts flashing, I'm gonna start driving the truck to work. But I want as little fuel as possible while I'm rallycrossing to have as little weight as possible. It should be about 1.3 gallons if I remember correctly. And I'll take a few gas cans to the event and make sure I keep topping it off right up until it gets to where it's not flashing anymore, and then just go from there. So I'm gonna get under the car. I'm gonna install this splash guard, I guess you could call it, and then we'll work on some other stuff today. So I've got the splash guard put back on the Yaris. Now I'm just gonna get it back on the ground, pull it out of the shop, and we're gonna do a bit of cleaning in here, and then we'll get into some other stuff with the Yaris Rallycross prep. So honestly, I just really don't enjoy cleaning that much. I got a lot of stuff done, but I'm gonna leave the rest for another day. I just wanna work on the car. So I'll pull it in and then I'll show you what I might have planned and we'll go from there. So I did leave the car running. What we're gonna be doing is on the interior today. I kind of have a little bit of a plan, so let's go check it out. So in the Miata, I have the passenger seat, which is a Corbeau Forza. The left and the right seats are both the same thing, just the brackets are different. So I'm thinking I'm gonna pull the passenger seat from the Miata, and I might use it as the driver's seat for the Yaris. I just need to get this seat out of the Yaris, the OEM seat, and I just wanna look at the bolts, the mounting, and see if it'll be feasible for me to build brackets for the seat before next weekend. If not, I'll just end up getting the Corbeau brackets, but let's see. All right, so I took a quick look. We have our screws right here. There's another one over here, and then there's one right below the seat and another right below the seat. I just need to get this seat out, and it has these star bits, which is like, these look like Torx bits if Torx bits were screw heads. So I'll look around and see if I have any sockets that'll fit that. I'm sure I have something that'll work. Might as well remove this little sensor here before we get too far. I'm gonna go get some sockets, see if I can get these off. Instead of sockets, I brought a ton of wrenches. What I'm thinking, it's easier to bring a bunch of these that'll fit in my hand first. See if any of them fit, then I'll go get a socket that is the same size. It's not a 10, 10's too big, not a 9, 7 possibly. 7's too small, 8 is just right. And I can already tell this is not gonna be very fun to get these off. Oh goodness, that's sketchy. That's super sketchy. I might have to go get some kind of specialized socket for these, because while I can get the 8mm on, it's a 12 point, this is a 6 point, and I feel like I'm just going to strip that right off. I do have an extractor set. So lucky me, I have an 8mm socket, so let's just hope I don't destroy this bolt. They made it seem really difficult online. That just popped right off. So let's get these others off. Yeah, I can't say I'm gonna be retaining these at all. Definitely gonna get some grade 8 fasteners, replace them with. Yeah, that one. They're definitely right to say that you need a bolt extraction set for these bolts. My bolt extraction set is not good enough, so I'm gonna have to go get another one. And while I'm out, I will go pick up some grade 8 hardware, and we'll go from there. But this is not working at all. Worst case scenario, put all 3 bolts back in, because I didn't get that loose at all, just rounded it, and I have to run the stock seat. All right, so not much has happened. The skid plate, we're still pricing that out right now. It's not gonna be done by the event this weekend, so I'm gonna keep that for a later video. I'm still gonna post it once I get the skid plate, but we're gonna do something a little different. I still have some other stuff that I can do to the car in order to prep it for Rallycross. So I've got something in here, and I'm at my storage unit right now, so y'all can finally see the Miata. All right, and here it is. It's pretty dusty right now. I'll do a full overview of it eventually, but just sitting here in the storage unit with some of my other stuff. You can see the water to air intercooler right there. So we're not gonna be doing the seat right now, and we're not gonna be doing the skid plate, but what are we gonna be doing? So I tend to not like bigger steering wheels. They are clunky. I just have a preference for smaller wheels, preferably 330mm. Luckily right here, I have a 330mm Personal Neo Grinta with an NRG quick release. All right, so this is what I got right here. So I think this is a newer product, but I didn't have to get a full quick release. They now sell these just race hubs that I can put on the Yaris steering rack, and I can use my old wheel. So I'm thinking I can end up swapping the wheel between the Miata and the Yaris for now until I end up getting a wheel specifically for the Yaris. This will be very helpful. Let's go ahead and get that installed today. And I'm gonna look around here a little bit more, see if there's anything else sitting around that I might be able to use for Rallycross. So let's see. So I ended up finding these louvers right here. They're fender louvers. Depending on how much new fenders cost, I may install these, I may wait. In the rules for Lone Star Rallycross, it says no hood louvers and no hood vents other than stock. It doesn't say anything about fender louvers. So I might look up, see how much new fenders are. I might just throw these on. We'll see. I also have an Autometer stack wideband and AFR gauge. I was planning on putting this in the NB, but I don't have the NB anymore. So it's gonna go in the Yaris eventually. It's not gonna go right now. I do plan to get a piggyback ECU. So once I go that route, I'll need that. But for right now, I'll just take it back to the shop. Let's get back there. So we're back at the shop now. First things first, we need to disconnect the battery so I can go ahead and take that steering wheel off. I'm gonna let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Just drain everything, make sure the airbag doesn't go off in my face.
I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna beat up, wanna treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide.
All right, so these vents that I picked up over at the storage unit are for an NA Miata, and they don't really fit anywhere and look good. They kind of have some weird angles and it just doesn't really look good. Ideally, it would be a vent that would go along that and then along the fender line, down and back up. Something right here. I was hoping this might work, but this side is too big. This is too much of an angle and it's just not gonna work out. Also, I don't even know if these would be legal, but I do have a good backup plan that I was thinking of. I'll have to take a run to the parts store, but I do need to remove a bolt before I get there. I'm gonna add a spacer to this bottom bolt holding the fender on. I'm gonna pull the fender out with about a 1-inch spacer or so, and there'll be a gap here along this fender line to extract all of the hot air from the engine bay out. That was the plan with the vents, but I have a backup plan that is going to be legal for sure, because there's nothing in the rule book about adding spacers to body panels. So if you look under here on this plastic piece right here, this right here is the bolt I'm supposed to be taking off. It looks like someone jacked up from this point and it caved in, so I'm gonna have to bend that back outward to remove the bolt.
I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna beat up, wanna treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide, slide. I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna beat up, wanna treat you.
I feel like I'm gonna regret taking that battery off so early because now I can't reach back here and I need to turn the wheel. So let's go work on the wheel for a little bit and then we'll come back to this. So to remove the airbag, it looks like there's a torque screw in there and I imagine it's on both sides. Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna have to get a Torx bit and pop those out to get the airbag out. All right, I think I've got both out. Oh yeah, there it is. So this is what the inside looks here. These two are the connectors for the airbag. This is the connector for the horn right here. There we go. All right, so we're gonna get the steering wheel off with a 19mm socket. Honestly, why am I doing it this way? I can just get the impact. I'll go do that. There we go. Then you gotta kind of give it a little wiggle and it'll come loose like that. Just needs to be kind of like wiggled and removed. I'm not gonna be able to get this on without removing the clock spring. Luckily in Texas, don't have to get safety inspection, so don't need the clock spring for the horn. So I'll probably just yank it out like that and leave the harness just sitting down there in case I ever do decide to reinstall it. Clock spring is now removed. Now we got to get it back together. So now to install our quick disconnect racing hub. So I already fit the wheel with the quick disconnect on it, and the R right between the R and the dash right there goes directly up. So that's how we're going to clock it. So before I put the nut back on here, I'm gonna put the steering wheel on, make sure it's how I like it, it's clocked perfectly. And if it's not, if I wanna move it forward, I have a little spacer for it. I think it's about a 3-inch spacer because I tend to like my steering wheel a little bit closer than normal people would. So I'm not driving straight arm like you see in those old racing videos from like the 1930s. I like a little bit more angle. It's clocked pretty closely, slightly off, but it's not terrible. I gotta get back to my regular seating position. I kind of would like to try the spacer. So we got it separated. I just drilled a hole through the one stuck Allen bolt. First off, I'll say we absolutely have to run this now because there's still some leftover Allen bolt in there. Well, Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna say we have to run it because there's still a possibility of getting that junk out of there. But I'm not gonna worry about that right now. What I am gonna worry about is this, because this is on a different bolt pattern than the steering wheel, but the steering wheel bolt pattern is on this side. So what we need to do now is get this lined up exactly how we want it. And I'm gonna get our hardware and start threading things in. So we've got that together now, looks good. Now I just gotta clock it to see which way is gonna be up for when we install the steering wheel. All right, so I just checked it real quick, didn't take the camera over there. This bolt right here next to the little latch for the quick release mechanism is directly up. All right, now that we've got our steering wheel clocked and mounted, we need to go install the center bolt, and then this part will be done. Oh, this is actually perfect. I really like this a lot. Gonna be great for the race this weekend. Honestly, I'm super happy with this whole setup right here. It's pretty solid. All right, so I was editing this video and I was realizing that it's getting a little bit long. So I'm gonna end the video here and we'll pick it up in 2 weeks and y'all will see the finishing of rally prep and my first rallycross event with Lone Star Rallycross. So I hope y'all liked the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.